I close the door. Okay, nice to see you again. As most of you know, my name is Mikaela Askan. I'm a fisheries biologist and I work also with fisheries management, but I've been also involved in aquaculture through climate adaptation strategies. So I've been working quite a few large transdisciplinary projects. But I will try to kind of stick to the content a lot on what we had in the two papers presented and also in the Rutgers book on complex, what is the name of the book? Remember again? I give it to you sooner. Especially chapter 3 that is on methodologies, where they had a very good text including information on ethics. And I will pick up on that. But my plan was to give you a lecture, and then I got the message from Vera. You better, welcome. You better make it as interactive as possible, because we want you really to think about these issues, because this is very much science and approaches in development. And if you read these papers on the topic, many of them kind of throw the ball to the younger generation, talking about providing interdisciplinary training, facilitating you to kind of develop and run these interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary projects. So I will give you a short introduction and then we will jump to one of the questions. So we have 4 questions during these 2 hours, and I will leave you to discuss in groups, and we will then get back and I will ask you even to come up here and say something about your conclusions. It's very important that you don't just stick to the paper, but think about your own experience or what you've seen out there on the way. So I myself, I'm coordinating the transdisciplinary research school called Changing Arctic that the University of Tromsø established 2 years ago. The first crowd started in August last year, and the other crowd started now in August. So together we have 7 PhD students working at all the 7 different faculties, or we call them entities because the museum is not a faculty. And it means we have a crowd of very, very different backgrounds, and also supervisors who have very different backgrounds. Some of them are very used to work in interdisciplinary teams, perhaps not really across faculties, but departments have different perspectives. Like if you are in clinical medicine, you may work with the epidemiologist who is looking into big data and so on. They might not work with the social scientists, but still they are in an interdisciplinary realm. Others are very much into genetics and looking just in the biodiversity of a certain biotope also. I just want to check with you guys now. How many of you have a biology background? Hands up. Okay. And what is your background then? If you don't consider yourself a biologist, what is your kind of science background?
I'm from agriculture background. Yes.
Agriculture. Agriculture or aquaculture?
Agriculture
and economics. Yeah, great, very good. It's very typical when we read these papers, when we look into who has been writing papers on inter and transdisciplinary, they are very often written by biologists or ecologists or people who are somehow involved in management, might be economists as well. So very few social scientists. And when you find such a paper, I have to admit, it's hard to read. So I had several options, and I will refer to the moon paper at the very end, but it turned out for me to be kind of hard to access, and it may be a typical consequence of the fact that we talk different languages, as you learned. So expanding the role of social science in conservation through an engagement with philosophy, methodology, and methods. I read this paper and I thought, this is hard to understand. So I didn't want to throw it on you with less than a week. Okay, so, but if you would have been a social scientist, you might have found this much easier to access. Okay, that's already showing my bias. Okay, so my background, my experience is kind of already telling you what to read. In addition, I'm dyslexic, so when I get a lot of words and no figures, no drawings, I'm more reluctant to read it than my colleague who reads 700 words in a minute. Okay, so as I said, we are in this, I'm leading this Changing Arctic Research School. Originally, it was supposed to be called the Arctic Resilience Accelerator. Now we bring it to the board or the group of deans with the rector. It's well prepared, everything is there. And the word resilience, no way. Because they don't agree on what the word resilience means. And nobody was present to show them that IPCC has defined the word. So each of them came up with different perceptions, and when the biologists or mathematicians started to talk about what resilience means to them, like engineering resilience and so on, the social scientists went like this, no way. So we are not keeping that word, it's still in our ambition. And as you see, if you read any of these kind of one of the approaches to get to understand socio-ecological systems is studying the resilience of the system. But the research school that we have is has been built by the several faculties to work on the sustainable development goals. So and including the main 3 pillars of sustainability. And then they have kind of looked at the faculties and their interests and what is needed out there in a transition towards green economy. So they are looking at food security, and renewable energy, and health and well-being in the Arctic. So the projects run all over the place. But just to kind of, and in all these projects are kind of, we could call them as they are kind of we try to cover and jump between these pillars and include several pillars in the work. Most of them address some kind of sustainability challenge on renewable energy or on food systems. And I just wanted to make you aware that when we talk about sustainability and transition, we are very often also talking about societal challenges. Societal challenges has been the concept used in Horizon 2020 for 10 years almost. But now when we got the new program Horizon Europe, it's called Global Challenge. Might be that they felt that the name Horizon 2020 was very kind of looking forward, while suddenly getting to Horizon Europe, they seemed a little bit narrow-minded. So the societal challenge became global. I don't know, but it might be a kind of vocabulary choice that they do. I will get back to the fact that they actually very often choose new concepts or even just change the meaning of words from one program to another. So, yeah, this was kind of to give you, just show how this school is organized, but also bringing these concepts. And also keep in mind that very many of the programs out there, funding bodies, are structuring their funding around the sustainability, either sustainable development goals, but very often around the pillars. They are mentioned, they are also highlighted, and we often see programs relating to health and well-being, renewable energy, and also food systems and sustainable systems. Just interrupt me, okay, if you have any questions. So, I just wanted to, so now I just wanted to just talk with the one who is next to you. What is kind of the system that you think is of interest or that relates to your project, your potential master program project if you don't have one yet, or the field that you have been working in recently. So they might be kind of societal challenges that are far outside this, these pillars that I mentioned here. Or you can also, if you find that difficult, you may also think about a challenge that we have that has not been listed here at all. Okay, but now I do it like you two know each other too well. So you two together and you together and you two I have the feeling that you go to each lecture. Should I repeat the question? So what, if you think about your project or your field, what is the main societal challenge you could think of? It doesn't have to be any of these. There are several others that are not, that I didn't list now. Okay, this is not one of our main questions, so this is just short for you to get the kind of task that you can think of. Can you please kind of mention what were the topics, challenges that you discussed in each of the groups in this slide?
We were thinking most about like cultural change, like the challenge of changing our culture to attain more sustainable ways of organizing society and living.
Yeah. So cultural change towards sustainability. Yeah. Next group.
We talked about her master project.
Okay.
So I think it's about the seaweed. So for the
Seaweed.
Yeah. In Sri Lanka, but now I'm focusing on the seaweed, commercial seaweeds in Indian Ocean. So I'm going to review articles, and then I found so many things about the challenges they are facing when they are doing that commercial farming. There are so many challenges for them. Sometimes it's global challenges. Based on the climate change, it's affecting the seaweed also, and then some social challenges also.
Yeah.
Based on between the people doing the seaweed farming. Sometimes in some countries the migrant people they are doing the farming, and the native people also do it. So there are some conflict between that peoples.
Yeah.
But
be aware that we have a huge online course on low trophic aquaculture that might be interesting for you. Please let me know afterwards. I give you the access to it if you don't have it already. Climate change. If you look if you Google kind of global societal sustainability challenges, climate change is very often listed as the first, and its implication then for food production in general. But that is big aquaculture here. Next group, please.
Yes, we also talking about my research, my master thesis. It is about marine environmental reef fisheries in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So actually, it is about economic challenges in the value chain and the industry. But nowadays, I refer to so many articles in here, and I identified that globally there is overexploitation issue, and then some the climate change and some environment constraint for this industry. So yes, that's what we were talking.
Yeah. Did you have anything on kind of tragedy of the commons or anything that if you talk about fisheries, is that related? If you talk about fisheries and overfishing,
is one of the most serious things in Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Anybody who's working on resources in general is aware of that, but some of you might not have heard about hauling and tragedy of the commons. Anybody, you know what it is? Mm-hmm. It's the idea, and also Ostermauer Nobel Prize winner. They were very much focused on the resources that we have out there. Doesn't matter if it's firewood or fish. Everybody goes there and think that they have the right to bring something there, bring out the resource, and because everybody, if there is no regulation, we will end in the situation where we deplete the resource. It's a very kind of standard document for anybody in resource management or economics. Okay, what did you two discuss? It was in Finnish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understood almost something of Finnish. Yeah.
We had food, health, and then also the economic.
Yeah,
like
the
working
livelihoods.
places. Yeah.
Livelihoods, yeah.
We were discussing that at least some livelihoods are perceived as being in danger, maybe.
So if you think about traditional livelihoods like Sami or
Or
Inuit
just
households or
fisheries,
fisheries in
for
general.
example,
Yeah.
or at least in the short run, due to management decisions, which, for example, fisheries are quotas are.
Here are the economic structures. I was just during the weekend in Bjarkøy, that 10 years ago was the best school in Norway, and now it's not there anymore because the population is almost disappearing, and the people who are left are usually elderly men and very often single, because you have this moving out of the local communities. But there are some good stories about every now and then that we have French foreigners or Spanish people or Finns who move somewhere out on an island and keep it going for another 10 years. So there is hope. If you would have been a social scientist, what might you have put on the very top? A societal challenge, I would say then, or global.
Different cultures.
Yeah, but if you talk about societal, the specific challenges that we have in the society now, I would list, for instance, equity, and the fact that the difference between rich and poor is increasing, and we get democratic issues with our democracies, driven by the issues with equality in the society. So, and also then very much connected to that is our information systems. What information does who get, and that we through social media then easily kind of even polarize the agendas from each other. And if you do talk to people who don't have a biology background but have a societal background, they consider this being a much more challenging issues, with our democracies falling apart, with right-wing movements in Europe or military coups in Africa. So we have to keep a little bit, kind of try to keep a wider mind here. Okay, then to the book, the Routledge Handbook of Research Methods for Social Ecological Systems. Have you seen this book before? It is by far the syllabus for the people who are doing a PhD course on this topic. It is available online, and it is very much the basis of Vera's lectures that are upcoming during this semester. It's not very hard to read. It has some nice illustrations, as you see, and the third chapter provides us with some insights on methodologies and how to kind of approach these challenging and complex societal challenges. I brought this just to show you that when you have these large challenging challenges, you very often need to access several aspects of the world. So you need to identify other research disciplines and scan the potential methods out there available, what might be relevant. And you might not be able, you're not probably able to do it alone. In your team, you may need to address or get to people who are out there with other experiences to see what might fit. Very often we combine theory from one field to another, and try to align them and see how they together can bring something new. Also, how you identify the problem, as we have been doing now, and how you then frame it, because you start on a national level, but you say, but actually it's also global. And then to be able to kind of solve the problem or study the complex system, you need to frame it somehow. And then it's a question of level of detail. If you do a global study, would you be happy with just the FAO statistics and some word statistics and look at the interactions or correlations? Or would you rather go into this case study in Sri Lanka and study it more in detail? Or would you then need several different case studies across the world to kind of prove the concept that you have, or the theories that you have developed? And then also how you kind of develop, so you use all this knowledge before you can define your research questions. It's a part of the scoping. And then here we have the research areas and the different approaches that are actually mentioned in the book, where we go to resilience assessments or looking into ecosystem services or other ways of studying the system. Now, at the end, there is this square that says gradient of collaboration. And that is what we are going to discuss more in detail today. How much interaction between fields and participation do you need to study the problem or the question that you have, or the system that you have? And now I ask you to discuss why multiple disciplines are necessary to address, and you can again very well use the challenge that you already identified if you wish to. And what disciplines could you include in addition to what you already have? Because you are now working on your master thesis, so you are in a certain realm. But then it's the question, what could you bring in of other fields to expand on your understanding? You may also switch. Have you already identified your master projects?
No.
Okay, then it's easy to just stick to that project that you were discussing. And I think it's easier you do it 2 and 2, because then each of you get time to discuss and turn your brain. Okay, any question to this? Do you understand this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I give you now 10 minutes.